That's why we're here.
So, so you found this out through whistleblowers and the Buffalo News,
Yes.
as well as anonymous sources and digging online. So what are these implications with the jesters? Now, people are probably saying, okay, it sounds like regular Washington stuff to me. Doesn't sound that bad. Okay, so they get their fingers slapped and that's it. So what is the true implication of what we're talking about?
The true implication is that these nonprofit groups from the Royal Order of Jesters, right now in Florida, people may have heard that the Lieutenant Governor of Florida resigned after being questioned about another nonprofit group who was operating an illegal gambling enterprise, which now includes another charity of people using kids with cancer to raise money. So we have these nonprofit groups using kids and veterans to raise money, and then the Royal Order of Jesters writing off their costs of partying as a nonprofit group. Somehow the jesters put their exempt purpose as mirth and merriment. I have one tax return from Florida that says their exempt purpose is to have fun. So when they do not pay their taxes and they write off, say, one tax return shows $600,000 for a weekend party, what they don't pay in taxes as a nonprofit group, we subsidize or make up for. And that's the fraud.
Tell me about the top 3 articles in your book.
Well, I would have to say a sheriff was caught by the FBI, and the number one article, I think, would be how the feds, the U.S. Attorney and Department of Justice, in the sheriff's indictment, described the Royal Order of Jesters in their own section. So this is not a rumor. This is not, bad tax returns. This is the feds, Department of Justice, prosecuting a sheriff for taking limos of prostitutes to a national jester meeting in Canada. And so in this section, they just define the jesters as a group throughout the United States that hold these events called Books of the Play, and that the prostitutes who are at the events are trafficked by there's a guy in nearly every single court who gets prostitutes for their weekend parties. And that is how the Royal Order of Jesters is defined by the Department of Justice.
Wow.
That's number one.
Okay.
The second article is Jesters in Congress. I was contacted by CNN. They were having an event, the Writers' Cup, at a Shriner golf course, and I was contacted to talk about the Shriners. Well, I decided to find out if any jesters had contributed to elections, and what I found with the Federal Election Committee is that 2 United States congressmen put on their disclosures that they used campaign funds for jester membership, and one of them used it for a jester event registration.
How illegal is that?
Specifically, the Federal Election Commission says that no, campaign funds are supposed to be used for something personal. And so it's clearly against the law. And the Federal Election Commission received a complaint, and they are currently investigating. This is why this article is so important, because this congressman is currently being investigated by the Federal Election Commission, and he's Gus Bilirakis out of Florida. He's being investigated for the illegal use of campaign contributions. And then the third article is Jesters Lose Tax Decision. When my site, I write for newsvine.com. I've been there the past 7 years, and it's a subsidiary of NBC. So people can Google. It's sandyfrost.newsvine.com. And when they find Jesters Lose Tax Decision, there's a picture of a jester with his arm around 2 teenage girls, underage girls. This is one of the jesters who went to Brazil, and this is, again, the kind of boring stuff, but my work is so important because when I say something, there's a document for it. There's a tax return, there's an indictment, there's a plea agreement, There is, and I've written apologies because my target audience is investigators. I take great pride that there has been a grand jury, that there are legal things and investigations going on, and I can tell from Google Analytics where the hits come from. And I've been hit from everybody from the IRS and CIA and FBI and Brazil and everywhere, that law enforcement will come to my site so investigators can get an idea of what they're dealing with and be directed to the proper document.
Let me ask you this, Sandy. What motivates you? Why have you taken on this quest? You're like the Don Quixote of the jesters.
Kinda. My husband says I'm a paladin. But early on, when I began investigating the Brazil child sex tourism story, 5 girls went to the Brazilian federal police and told them that a man named Richard came to their Indian reservation, which is illegal in Brazil, promised them a job on a boat cooking and cleaning. When they got there, they were made drunk, given drugs, and forced to have sex with North American fishermen. And when I read these girls' statements, one of them said she was 13 and was left pregnant after one such trip. I'm Alaska Native, and I felt that these were like my daughters, and I vowed to write and fight for them, because what happened to them, especially the 13-year-old, her and her mom were thrown out of their village because of the pregnancy. Then there was a Brazilian news report where this same story was investigated about 2 years after I began investigating, and the girls were talking on the news story to the reporter with their eyes blacked out, and that's why I do this. Now the girls are actually suing this Richard Scher in federal court for violating the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, and so this is just not right. 19 jesters were called, actually, as witnesses to testify in a defamation suit that was actually filed by this Richard Scher. And there are pictures, and in fact on Jesters Lose Tax Decision, that article, there is a picture of a jester with these 2 girls. There are other pictures in other articles, and in the same case, fishing tour guides were called as witnesses. And
Sandy, I hate to do this, sweetie, but we've got to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Exonation Sandy Frost is our special guest this hour. We're talking about Vampires of Charity. Her website is www.thevampiresofcharity.com. Sandy and I will be back on the other side of this news break. Don't go away. My name is Rob McConnell, and I would like to tell you about a very special lady that I have the pleasure of knowing, and that's Miss Sylvia Anthony. Sylvia Anthony believes the golden years are a time to gear up and get busy, not relax and take it easy. She has faced many hardships in her 84 years, but they have made her stronger and more determined. As founder and president of Sylvia's Haven, a shelter for women and their children near Boston, Sylvia has helped transform over 1,086 lives in the past 27 years, not only with housing, but also providing direction as to where they can go to develop the earning skills they want and need to live free from difficult domestic situations. Sylvia's Haven is everything to Sylvia Anthony, even calling it her magnificent obsession. Women who qualify for the program at Sylvia's Haven receive assistance via guidance counselors to find the appropriate job opportunity. Women and their children may remain at the housing for up to 2 years. At the end of this time, or sooner, a woman who is successfully employed and has an apartment or home may leave Sylvia's Haven to begin a new and independent life. Now this is where you come in to help make Sylvia's dream into a reality. Sylvia's dream is to have a Sylvia's Haven in every state to help as many women and their children as she can, and to help this dream come true. A crowdfunding site has been established which can be accessed at www.sylviasdream.org. Now that's www.sylviasdream.org. With your financial help and support, Sylvia Anthony will continue to help those in their time of need, not only in the Boston area, but with her dream of having a Sylvia's Haven in every state of the United States. Your help is needed to make Sylvia's dream come true. Please visit and give at www.sylviasdream.org. Once again, www.sylviasdream.org. And remember, the only difference between a dream and reality is just doing it. We need your help to make Sylvia's dream come true. Visit www.sylviasdream.org. Once again, www.sylviasdream.org. For the X Zone Radio TV show and the X Chronicles newspaper, I am Rob McConnell. You're listening to the X Zone Radio Show, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, and Star Cable. Our toll-free telephone number worldwide is 1-800-610-7035. Our email address, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com.
But Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man.
Canada is the Rocky Mountains. Canada is Prince Edward Island. Canada is a country made for love. Canada is La Belle Province. Canada is the Yukon Mine. Canada is a country full of love. We have love for our neighbor of whatever creed or color. We have love for our cities and our valleys and our plains. We have a voice that is calling, telling all the world we're willing to welcome them to this great land. For that's what Canada is. Canada is the Rocky Mountains.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Now, if you'd like to know where Hamilton is, find Toronto on your map. Find Niagara Falls on your map. That'll bring you onto the shores of Lake Ontario. Smack dab in between is Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is a crusader. That's the best way I can describe her. Her name is Sandy Frost. She is the author of a fascinating book that talks about the vampires of charity. Her website is www.thevampiresofcharity.com. That's www.thevampiresofcharity.com. And Sandy, welcome back to the X Zone, dear.
Thank you.
Now, why don't we pick up where we left off last time? Okay.
Right. We were discussing the third top article being Jesters Lose Tax Decision, because remember, they have been described by the feds as having a nationwide network of guys, geriatric pimps, who get the prostitutes for their parties. And then the first article was Jesters in Congress to show they're all over in high places of influence to protect. These, above all else, are Master Masons, who then can join other groups like the Knights Templar